two pieces here. So my shorter piece is the handle, that will be the handle, and my base. So before we start to mark things out, make sure you have everything you need. A really sharp pencil for accurately marking out, a steel rule, a tri-square, and you should also have a marking gauge with you. Also have the plans with you so you know all of the measurements to mark this out. Before we do start, we need to make sure we put our name on our work and clearly as well. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Now that I've done that, we're going to measure in 45mm from both ends. So just getting my steel rule and sit in 45mm like so, and just put a mark on the end of my steel rule. We'll do from here, get your tri-square, run that to the edge, line it up, and just pencil that through. We'll do the same on our opposite side as well. So again, 45mm, make sure this is accurate. Grab your tri-square here and ensure that the stock is hard up alongside your edge. Okay, and then just carefully mark that through. Now we're going to mark the length of our housing joint that's going to fit your handle. That measurement will be 50mm. So we measured 45mm. If we add 50 to 45, that will give us 95. So I'm going to now measure from the end, 95mm. Okay, and let's square that off. And do the exact same on your other side. So 95 and scribe that in. Okay, we should have something now that looks like that. From here, we need to measure and find where our lines for the width of our housing will go. So if I take away, so I know the width of this is 140. So if I take away the width of my housing, which will be 19mm, okay, so that's 121, and I divide that by 2. Grab your marking gauge and you're going to set that to 60.5. So be very careful and get that accurate. That's quite an important thing. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to test the distance. So I'll run my stock up alongside one of the edges on that line and put a dot. Turn this around and do the same on my other side. Now theoretically, the distance between these 2 points should be 19mm. So I'm going to grab my chisel and place that over the top. Now I can see that that fits perfectly. My chisel fits perfectly between those two dots. So if you have a nice close look, you can see these two dots that I've created. And that chisel should fit in between those two. Scribing your lines, just ensure that you clamp your work to the bench. That allows you to have two hands free to be able to securely hold the marking gauge so that nothing slides around and moves. At the end point, because we don't want our scribe line to go past that 45mm line, and we can drag our pin and it should just stop on that dot. And we'll do now the exact same on our opposite side. Grab your pencil, pencil those lines in, and we just put some lines through here, like so. That tells us that's the waist. So I'll just hold that up there for you to be able to see. We're going to do the same on this opposite side now. And again, that's what your housings should look like. So we have a measurement of 50 mil between these 2 points, and then these 2 points here should be a measurement of 19 mil. 19 mil is really important if you don't have it accurate, because that's the thickness of our handle, which will then drop in. If the distance between these two is bigger than 19 mil, you're going to have a gap when your handle goes in. If it's smaller than 19 mil, your handle is not going to drop into that housing. Okay, so that's quite an important thing. Take your time to mark this thing out accurately. The next thing you're going to do is to be marking out the chamfer. Okay, so our chamfer will be 8 mil. So set your marking gauge to 8 mil. Now, we're always working off the top. So that top face that we've been marking out already, that's going to face me. Okay, don't shift it around the other way, and we scribe a line there. Make that nice and defined. And we're going to go all the way around. And I haven't moved, I've always got that same face on the outside, the top of my wood float base. Okay, don't flip it over. And finally, just on the end grain, just work a little bit harder. It is trickier when you're dealing with that end grain pattern. The grain can be a bit more stubborn. Let's pencil that in. Okay, now we're going to do the top. Okay, going to mark that on the top and do the same around each side. Okay. I'll pencil that in. That should look like that now. So you should have your mortises and your marking out for your chamfers on each of those sides. The last thing we will have to do here is we need to mark the centers for our housing joint. That's for our screw hole. That's a corner here, and corner to corner there, and the same here. And we should have a center there